There is a single word that modern society worships above almost all others. You are taught to cling to it in times of darkness. You are told that as long as you possess it, you can survive absolutely anything. Books are written about it. Political speeches are delivered to inspire it. And weak men use it as a permanent crutch to avoid facing the brutal reality of their situations. That word is hope. It sounds incredibly noble. It sounds profound and comforting. But I am here to tell you a dark, deeply uncomfortable truth that the ancient Stoics understood perfectly. Hope is a poison. Hope is a psychological chain. It is a beggar's currency. And as long as you rely on it, you will never, ever possess a truly sovereign, unbreakable mind. We are constantly, relentlessly told to hope for the best, but I want you to examine what you are actually doing when you hope. You are taking your mind, your precious energy, and your finite focus out of the present moment, the absolute only place where you have any actual power, and you are projecting it into an imaginary, non-existent future. You are passively waiting for external circumstances to miraculously align in your favor. You are waiting for the economy to magically improve, for someone to finally give you a golden opportunity, for a random stroke of luck, or for a savior to arrive and pull you out of the fire. Hope is the ultimate, socially acceptable form of passive surrender. It is a quiet, devastating admission that you do not believe you have control over your own destiny, and therefore, you must beg the cold universe for a favorable outcome. Look at what hope does to a human life. It transforms your one mortal existence into a miserable waiting room. You sit there, watching the clock of your life tick away, holding your ticket, hoping that someday your number will be called. You hope that next year will be different. You hope that your relationship will fix itself. You hope that your discipline will magically appear tomorrow morning. And while you sit in that waiting room, paralyzed by your own expectations, the years slip through your fingers like sand. The tragedy of the hoping man is that he reaches the end of his life and realizes he never actually lived. He only spent decades waiting for life to begin. 2,000 years ago, the brilliant Stoic philosopher Seneca recognized the terrifying psychological danger of this emotion. He wrote a letter to his friend Lucilius, containing a sentence that completely shatters the foundation of modern self-help and toxic positivity. Seneca wrote, "Cease to hope, and you will cease to fear." Let that brutal, undeniable truth echo in your mind. Cease to hope, and you will cease to fear. Seneca understood a fundamental law of human nature. Hope and fear are not opposites. They are identical twins. They are tightly, permanently bound together. You cannot possibly invite one into your mind without immediately inviting the other. Think about the mechanical anatomy of your own anxiety. Why do you feel terrified? Why does your chest tighten when you think about your business, your relationships, or your uncertain future? You are afraid exactly because you are desperately hoping for a specific result. If you hope a person will love you forever, you live in constant, suffocating terror that they will eventually leave you. If you hope your new project will be a massive financial success, you are completely paralyzed by the fear that it might publicly fail. Hope creates a fragile, desperate expectation, and fear is the dark shadow that immediately follows it. When you attach your internal happiness to a future external event that you do not completely control, you voluntarily hand over the remote control of your nervous system to the chaotic world. You become a puppet, completely enslaved by variables, probabilities, and the shifting whims of fate. The man who hopes is a man who is constantly holding his breath. He is living in a state of perpetual, exhausting suspense, desperately waiting for tomorrow to validate his existence. But here is the coldest truth you will ever hear. Tomorrow never arrives. Tomorrow is a psychological illusion. The universe owes you absolutely nothing. The universe is cold, indifferent, and infinitely complex. It does not care about your personal hopes, your childhood dreams, or your fragile expectations. Now, a weak mind will hear this and immediately default to despair. They will ask, if I cannot have hope, then what is the point of doing anything? Isn't the death of hope just nihilism? This is a massive, fundamental misunderstanding. Do not confuse the death of hope with nihilism. The nihilist looks at the indifferent universe, gives up, and does nothing. The Stoic looks at the indifferent universe, accepts it completely, and executes his duty with lethal, unrelenting precision. If we must brutally execute hope, what do we replace it with? The ancient Stoics used the brilliant, perfect metaphor of the archer. Imagine a master archer preparing to shoot an arrow at a target. The archer has absolute control over certain things. He controls how much he trains. He controls the tension of the bowstring. He controls his breathing. And he controls the exact moment he releases his grip. But the very microsecond that arrow leaves the bow, his control drops to absolute zero. A sudden gust of wind could blow the arrow off course. The target could suddenly move. The arrow could shatter in midair. The foolish archer shoots the arrow and immediately begins hoping. He prays to the gods that the wind will not blow. He ties his entire emotional state to whether or not the arrow hits the bullseye. If it misses, he is crushed. But the Stoic archer focuses 100% of his energy on the draw, the aim, and the release. He perfects the action itself. And once the arrow is in the air, he does not hope, he accepts. He understands that the outcome belongs to fate. His victory is not in the target. His victory is in the flawless execution of the shot. He draws the bow again. We replace the weakness of hope with absolute, uncompromising acceptance and relentless, ironclad action. The Stoics practiced a mental discipline known as Amor, Fati, the radical love of one as fate. They did not sit around hoping for the storm to miss their ship. They learned to actively love the storm. They learned to navigate through the tearing winds and the crushing waves, recognizing that the storm is exactly what tests and validates their skill as a sailor. Fire consumes everything you throw into it, and uses it to burn even brighter. You must become the fire. Marcus Aurelius, the emperor of Rome, faced devastating plagues, intimate betrayals, and endless, exhausting wars. He did not write in his private journal, "I hope tomorrow is easier." He knew that wishing for an easier life is a profound, pathetic waste of human energy. Instead, he practiced Premeditatio, Malorum, the premeditation of evils. The Stoic intentionally, vividly visualizes the worst possible outcomes. He looks directly into the darkest abyss of the future. He imagines losing his wealth, his reputation, his health, and his comfort. Why does he do this? Not to become depressed, but to completely and utterly destroy the element of surprise. Imagine the sheer, terrifying freedom of the man who has already lost everything in his own mind. When you have already mentally lived through the absolute worst-case scenario, and you realize that your sovereign mind can survive it, you no longer need the crutch of hope. You no longer fear the future because you are entirely, ruthlessly prepared for it. When you finally kill hope, a massive, liberating weight is instantly lifted off your shoulders. You stop being a passive victim waiting for a rescue ship that is never coming. You step into extreme, uncompromising ownership of your present reality. If your business is failing, you do not sit in the dark hoping the market turns around. You brutally analyze the data, you cut your massive losses, and you rebuild from the dirt up. If your body is weak, you do not hope for good genetics or a magical supplement. You pick up the heavy iron, you embrace the agonizing, necessary pain of discipline, and you forge a new physical reality with your own two hands. The death of hope is the actual birth of true empowerment. The man without hope is completely, terrifyingly untouchable. You cannot threaten him with failure because he has already accepted the possibility of failure and coldly planned his next move. You cannot hold his desires hostage because he does not desperately cling to any specific outcome. He finds his total victory not in the unpredictable results, but in the perfection of his own daily actions. He is an empire unto himself. He is entirely self-sufficient. Look around you today. Society is filled to the brim with hoping people. They sit comfortably on the couch, endlessly scrolling through digital noise, hoping they will randomly feel motivated tomorrow morning. They hope they will eventually stumble upon their grand life as purpose. They are silently rotting away in their own warm comfort zones, waiting for a perfect, frictionless moment that fundamentally does not exist. Their hope is exactly what keeps them paralyzed. It is the soothing, toxic lullaby that puts their ambition to sleep and ensures they die as amateurs. It is time for you to wake up. It is time to brutally, permanently sever the psychological cord of expectation. Look at your life right now. Look at the massive problems you are facing, the goals you have lazily delayed, and the friction you have been desperately avoiding. Stop wishing for it to be easier. Wish that you were better. Stop hoping for a lucky break. Become the undeniable, terrifying force that does not require luck. You must step into the dark, silent forge of reality. You must become the sole architect of your own character. Build a mind so incredibly dense, so fiercely disciplined, that it remains entirely unaffected by the shifting, chaotic winds of fortune. Let the masses rely on hope. Let them pray for smooth sailing and fair weather. You will build a heavy ship designed specifically to hunt the hurricane. If you are ready to drop the exhausting burden of hope and fear, and if you are ready to forge a mind of absolute ice and iron, subscribe to this channel. We are leaving the fragile, hoping messes behind and building quiet, untouchable empires in the present moment. Leave a comment below with one specific expectation, relationship, or hope that you are officially destroying today so you can finally take ruthless action. I will see you in the arena.